Did you know that in the real estate sales industry, 50.7% of agents closed 2 deals or less in the past 12 months? With an average price of $1.15 million in the Toronto Real Estate Board, that works out to just under $60,000 a year, assuming you get the full commission. And our jobs are just not like a regular full-time hour job, not 30 or 40 hours a week. Most agents are on call 24/7, so it's pretty easy to pull in 60 to 80 hours a week, which if you do the math, it works out to $14 to $19 an hour. And you might think it's still good money, but keep in mind, you have to pay taxes on it. And then you have to factor in all the expenses that go to the cost of the sale, such as marketing, photography, staging, repairs, whatever your service offering is to your client. And then there's overhead to run the business that you need to do, such as administrative staff and office rent for them to work in. You might need computers and software systems, maybe some gas driving around your clients, and some fancy car payments and wardrobes to keep your image up. Then you have board dues, cell phone expenses, and office splits, and potentially even team splits if you're on a team. So that number significantly drops. And it probably explains why half of the agents out there or more have become so desperate. It's not that I'm trying to knock our industry. Like, there's a handful of people, like our team included, that do the majority of the business. The rest might be just doing it part-time, or they don't have the experience or the skill set to make it, or they just don't want it bad enough, I guess. So this video is probably gonna get a bit negative, so I apologize in advance, but I have to get this off my chest so I can just move on because somebody wronged me.
Look, I get it. The Toronto real estate market is confusing. Whether you're a new or experienced investor or just looking for a home to raise your family in, join us at Broadview Table Talks as you sit around the table with my friend to talk about the real estate and the ever-changing market in Toronto.
I had an agent that just left our team and it bothered me a lot. This one bothered me because he was a friend and we ran the same social circles. He came to me because he quit his day job chasing the dream of being a real estate agent when he asked to join my team. And normally I don't take on new licensed agents, at least not yet, because we have a pretty good productivity coaching program in our brokerage that newly minted agents can join. I generally hire people that have done at least a deal or two and need the systems and support to really take off. But he's a friend, so what the hell? I decided to take him under my wing. Anyway, each new salesperson gets a contract to sign, right? Which outlines the team splits and what they pay to the team. So we had a meeting and met in person, and he took it home to think about. Then he came back and he said he wanted to join us. I thought, wow, great, somebody I know, and he had a pretty decent job, so pretty good contact list. But it's completely my mistake. I should have forced him to sign a contract, but I thought the relationship that we had would have been good enough, right? So a few months into it, I gave him a client to work with. I knew he could use experience and the money as well because, he's gone a few months without working and without any income. I just don't know how he's surviving. So I constantly reminded him to stay on top of this client because it took her a little while to buy something. But I knew she was motivated to buy, so, stay on her, right? All in all, he worked with us for 19 months. That's nearly 2 years, but he only closed 2 deals. It's a bottom third of our industry only closes 1 deal a year. So I don't know, whatever. But these 2 deals came from his aunt because one was a buy and one was a sale, right? So good for him. Since then, he's closed 3 other deals, lease deals with us, and it's still not enough money, in my opinion, to feed your family and survive. After all the splits, everything, after all your expenses, how? So I get that he's probably feeling a bit desperate. So he decides to leave the team, and then he decides to go, solo. He thinks he can do it himself and maybe save a bit on the splits and then go to the discount brokerage. But I hate to tell you, 95% of zero is still zero, I don't know what to say, but that's fine. I get it. So I look in the database and I wanted to check with that contact that I asked him to stay on top of for over a year to follow up with. Then I realized he deleted her from the system. He deleted his own people too, which is fine because there's his own people and I don't need to market to them. He said that he accidentally deleted this client, but then he restored it. So on the Zoom call or on our exit interview, I said, I don't see her. He's like, oh, what are you talking about? I see her right there, 6 on the top. I'm like, okay, I still don't see her, but whatever. Okay, that's it. So I didn't think of anything of it until the next day when the contacts show up in chronological order, if I sent you one a year ago, it should be at the bottom, not 6 from the top. It doesn't make sense. So clearly he lied, and I didn't have a good feeling about it. So I had to say something to him, right? You clearly lied to it, and he had the intention of stealing her for sure. When technically that lead belongs to the team, or that client belongs to the team. So later on in the week, I found out that he actually did transact with her, and he bought her something, or he helped her buy something. And the funny thing is, he never told me about this until I called him out on it. So shady, right? So then he got a bit defensive, saying that the fact that I would accuse him of lying is laughable, but like I clearly caught him red-handed lying, because I was able to just like look at the notes of the database and it clearly said he deleted her. And then when he said she was 6 on the top, like that's a lie. So anyway, he blocked me and then he couldn't respond. Like, bro, what the hell? So if you're guilty of something, that's when you do something like that, right? In my opinion. So I wrote him an email. So he replies back saying, due to the way that you've conducted yourself from the moment I let you know I was leaving the brokerage, I have decided that after sending this, I will not be responding to any further communication, as I cannot trust anything you're saying or writing is above board. If you decide to pursue this further, any and all communication will be forwarded to my lawyer. Like, what? Like, seriously, bro? Bring it, man. Like, let's go. Let's go to court, whatever. Anyway, all those saying is that there's no contract was signed. So like, I get it. It's my fault. He's not going to be paying anything to the team. Okay, that's fine. You're right. It's my mistake. I shouldn't have relied on a relationship. I shouldn't have trusted you. And I thought you would have done the right thing. Like, to me, that's clearly stealing, and it's stealing from me and from the team. Agents on teams need to pay the split so that the team can operate, and we can use those resources to provide all the services that they get to empower themselves as agents to be able to produce more, right? Like, that's what it is. Like, that stuff's not free. It's not for profit. It's not for greed. The profit is used for oxygen so the business can survive. But whatever. Anyway, I let his wife know, and she's a reasonable person, and I thought she'd be able to talk some sense into him, but I guess she hasn't, because she's a friend of mine, but I guess not. He hasn't responded back at all. And I just don't know how he can look himself in the mirror or his 2 sons every morning when he's trying to grow them and raise them the right way, when he knows he's just a thief. Like, horrible. Anyway, I don't want to be all negative and stuff. It's off my chest now. Ultimately, the client got served, so she's happy. She bought the condo that she wanted to. I just can't see how he can justify himself stealing a client, and that's just really some shady behavior. So if any of you guys know who I'm talking about, just be careful trusting him. At the end of the day, karma will pay him back. That's okay. In the meanwhile, I just need to move on, and I hope this serves as a warning for those of you that have real estate teams or even business teams, whatever it is. Just make sure your salespeople have contracts and you review them every year, and the ironclad or whatever, as you're reviewing the goals with them, right? So that you can help them and they'll see value in what they're paying you. And ultimately, hopefully, they'll see that they're getting more value than they're paying you in splits. Until then, I guess I'll see you next week. And I guess I have a new enemy in the industry. So I'll see you around. Maybe not. Bye.
Add it up.
Thanks for sticking out to the very end. I hope you got some value out of this. Do me a favor, please press like and subscribe. But more than anything, leave me some feedback so we know what to produce for you going forward. Thanks again.